Okay, we're going to be showing you guys different selection tools. Without further ado, here we go. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to go to our menu, or our tools palette, and we're going to click on this guy, the lasso tool. Lasso tool is your basic tool that everybody uses. And I'm just going to bring stuff back up here. Decrease the opacity so you can see. Here we go. So it's your basic tool. You can use the caps lock to flip between a cursor and the actual icon itself. I prefer the cursor, so I'm gonna hit the cursor. I'm gonna zoom in here a bit. So with the lasso tool, it's total freeform. You just kind of trace if you're trying to trace, or you can just like grab whatever you want. You can draw it, and it will grab it and make a selection, and within that selection you can do whatever you want, right? So if I was to cut out this kid's head, which is honestly this isn't the best tool to use, but I'll show you. I gotta go in here, and I gotta hopefully my hand stays real still. I can use the space bar while I'm still kind of clicking stuff down and drag along. Really hard to do. You'll notice if I'm using a tablet, so it's a little bit easier, but if you got a mouse, you know, it's okay for organic shapes such as kind of bumpy stuff, but good luck drawing a straight line with this. I've seen people take a ruler out and run the mouse or stylus for your tablet along a ruler to get a straight edge, but there you go. Yeah, and then you go down, and as soon as you let go, it'll automatically connect. And then so what you can do also is you can go in and hold the shift key down. This is for any selection. Hold the shift key, and it's going to give you a plus, and you can kind of just add in as much as you want. I'm just doing circles because just for fun. And there's your selection. There you go. Now you can save a selection. You can go to select, drop down, and go all the way down here. Save selection. Call it, lasso, just for now. There you go. That selection is saved. So if I go here, I can go to load selection, and I don't have to work hard doing it again. I can scroll down here, and there's my lasso. Load it up. It's there. Okay, so that's your lasso selector. Now I'm going to go back here, and we're going to try to do the polygonal lasso tool. Well, this is kind of just makes, sort of like the lasso, but it makes straight lines. So you click once, you got a straight line, pow. Now here's the issue, is that all you have is straight lines. So if you want to get it curved out of the polygonal, you kind of have to click and click and click and click and click all the way through. I'm not going to do it because it's honestly a pain in the butt, and you can't get a straight, you can get a good straight line. You can't get a curve with this thing, so I'll just kind of, I'll do it anyway. So notice how what's going on. I mean, you're going to get a chunky kind of, I guess the effect would be is if you took a pair of scissors to this thing and hack this thing out. Oop, fudge. Can undo that and whatever. Not my favorite tool. I rarely use this one at all. And you can go down here and just kind of connect everything up. Boom. Okay, there's your selection. Again, I'm going to save this one. Let's go to save selection, and we're going to call this, let's see, I can't spell to save my life. Guess that's why I'm a designer. There you go. Okay, there's a polygon. This one kind of works okay. A magnetic lasso tool. Okay, so what you have is actually up here, if I can get it up, you've got a lot of different options. You got your width, which is kind of how big it grabs. You got your contrast, which is the limit to what it can grab, and the frequency, how much. And then so you run through. So I'm just going to leave this kind of default, okay? And I can go through here, and it's going to start to kind of, what you want to do is run it along the edge. And you can see, I'm going to zoom in, and it wants to find that edge of contrast. And it runs along, and I can modify, the modifiers in the toolbar. I'll go up and show you a bit more here. So it's kind of, you can click there, and then, and at any time you can click to tell it where to go, but it's doing a pretty good job. I mean, honestly, you can refine these as it's going, and I'm not clicking anything. It's snapping itself, making its own little. I can click there, so it's kind of, see, I can kind of run it off, and it's still gonna. I'm way over here. Oop, oop, oop. We don't want to do that. So let's see. Do this. Okay, whatever. Then we got a selection there. Notice how it grabs a little bit here and a little bit there. So then I gotta go in. I'm gonna do some more all the way down here. Just go all the way across. Bonk. Come on now. There we go. Grab some more. So it's kind of weird, right? And the thing is that you can switch back and forth. So say I'm happy with this, which I wouldn't be, but just for this exercise I am. I can go to my, lasso tool, and I can hold down the shift key, and I can just grab this piece there. I can grab this piece there. So ideally what you want to do is use a couple of these tools all at once, right? You want to use maybe, the polygonal for the straight pieces, make a triangle, and then maybe use the magnetic lasso for the head, and then the lasso tool just to fine tune and clean everything up. So if I go here, if you want to get rid of a selection, well, you, instead of holding the shift key, you hold the alter option key, and that will remove part of the selection. So there's my, I just put it in the guy's head so you can see it. So there's the negative sign beside the crosshair, and I can just go in and just carve this out. And there you go. And I'm going to maybe add a bit more here. Let's put a little bit more here. Okay, so this, we're going to go to my select, save selection. I'm going to call this magnetic. Yeah, I can't spell. Haha. Okay, so there's the magnetic one. Awesome sauce. So that pretty much does it for these guys. Now we have the magic wand. Where is the magic wand? Does anyone know? No, it's not there. It's right here. Sometimes if you have the quick selection tool set up, it will show this awesome guy. And if you're referring to the magic wand, which most people, when you're talking about selection tools, they automatically go to this guy because it's magic and magic's awesome. Magic wand, basically, it's the first selection tool, one of the first that Photoshop came out with 1 billion years ago, and it basically runs by contrast. So sample size, point sample, which means if wherever you click, it's going to grab items with the same contrast ratio. Tolerance is, how, I guess you could say, much of a contrast, set range within sampling, it says, but how much of a contrast it's gonna snag. So if you hit 100, it's gonna ignore a lot of contrast. It's gonna look for high contrast, like black and white. If you go lower, like 32 or 10, it's gonna look for very low contrast areas. Contiguous, it grabs items inside, so really good for selecting fonts. For example, if I was to select in here the white, if you had contiguous selected, it would also select the inside as well. Oop, and see, I just clicked on it, and there you go. That's what happens. So what I did was I clicked on the dark areas in here, and it automatically sampled and grabbed everything. So the nice thing is that I can, again, with the magic wand, I can go in and I can shift click. When I shift click with this, it's going to slowly grab more and more of the, I guess you could say, color values so it's going to start to grab more and more as I go, and it's going to look for that contrast. And if I go too far out, if I click here, it's going to start grabbing other stuff. So this is where it gets kind of weird. The magic wand is by far the most used tool, I would say, in Photoshop as far as selecting stuff. I don't like to use it. I try to stay away from it, mainly because when I do stuff, I have to cut images out, and I really need a sharp line, and I'll show you what I use instead. I'm a bit old school when it comes to this kind of stuff. So anyway, and I can go in and so I'm just going to zoom in some more. If I click on this, click on this, click on this. Now, if I don't feel like clicking a billion times, I can go in here and bring my tolerance up. We'll bring it to 50, and we'll shift click and shift click and shift click. Or maybe I have the generic shape I want already. See, I grabbed too much. Maybe I want to go back to my lasso tool and just grab all this stuff. Yeah, I make sounds when I do Photoshop too. Anyway, that's a rough example. So I'm going to name this as there you go, done. So there's all of the selection tools, and the last one is the pen tool, and that, my friends, needs its own little demo. So